Welcome to Copilot Podcasts. Imagine having the power to control every molecule in existence. Now imagine being too insecure to fully use it. Today, we're diving into one of Marvel's most fascinating paradoxes, the Molecule Man. We'll explore how a frustrated lab tech became one of the most powerful beings in the multiverse, and why that power might be both a blessing and a curse.
And what's really interesting is that this character, who can literally reshape reality itself, started out as just a disgruntled employee at Acme Atomic Corp who was fed up with long hours and low pay.
Wait, seriously? One of Marvel's most powerful beings basically got his powers because of a bad work environment?
Yeah, Owen Reese was just a regular lab technician in Brooklyn. According to the comics, he had a pretty rough childhood, raised by an overprotective mother, bullied in school. He actually wanted to be a magician when he grew up.
A magician? That's kind of ironic considering he ended up using a wand in his early appearances, right?
Exactly. Though that wand was actually just a mental crutch. He didn't really need it. It was all about his own self-doubt limiting his powers.
So, how did this ordinary guy end up with such extraordinary powers?
Well, he was working with an experimental particle accelerator when something went terribly wrong. The accident tore a hole in the fabric of space-time, connecting our universe to the realm of beings called the Beyonders.
And that's what gave him his powers?
Right. The energy surge from that accident gave him the ability to control all molecules, essentially making him one of the most powerful beings in existence. Though, interestingly, he initially thought he could only affect inorganic matter.
Another mental block?
Exactly. His powers were always there, but his own insecurities kept holding him back.
You know what's fascinating? He actually considered other names before settling on Molecule Man.
Oh yeah, he thought about calling himself Atom Man, but decided it didn't have enough pizzazz. Even considered Proton Man and Quark Man at various points.
I mean, Molecule Man does have a better ring to it.
But here's where his story gets really interesting. The accident that gave him his powers, it wasn't really an accident at all.
What do you mean?
It turns out the Beyonders had created a Molecule Man in every universe as part of a grand experiment. They were essentially universal bombs. When a Molecule Man died, his entire universe would die with him.
That's terrifying, actually. So every universe had its own walking doomsday device?
Exactly. And this all came to a head during the Secret Wars storyline, where Molecule Man played a crucial role.
Tell me more about that.
Well, he actually teamed up with Dr. Doom to try and stop the Beyonders' plan to destroy the multiverse. They thought killing other versions of Molecule Man would help.
I'm guessing that didn't work out so well?
Not exactly. It actually caused the multiverse to start contracting, leading to these catastrophic events called incursions, where universes began colliding with each other.
Wow, talk about good intentions gone wrong.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. Molecule Man and Doom eventually confronted the Beyonders directly.
And how did that go?
Surprisingly well, actually. Molecule Man managed to absorb their power and then gave it to Doom, who used it to create Battleworld. Basically a patchwork reality made from the remnants of the destroyed multiverse.
So he went from being unable to affect organic matter to being able to help reshape reality itself?
Exactly. And later, he transferred that same power to Reed Richards, who used it to restore the multiverse as the Eighth Cosmos.
It's fascinating how his character evolved from a simple villain to someone so crucial to the entire Marvel multiverse.
And what's really interesting is how his power level often reflected his mental state. When he was confident, he was nearly unstoppable.
Kind of like a cosmic version of imposter syndrome?
That's actually a perfect way to put it. Here's someone who could literally reshape reality, but was often held back by his own self-doubt.
You mentioned earlier that he formed some significant relationships despite his immense power. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, one of the most notable was his relationship with Marsha Rosenberg from Denver, also known as Volcana. Their love story actually became quite significant.
Even with all that power, he still sought human connection?
Absolutely. Their relationship survived through some incredibly difficult times, even as reality itself was crumbling around them.
It's interesting how someone so powerful could still be so human.
That's what makes him such a fascinating character. Despite having nearly unlimited power, he still struggled with very human issues: loneliness, self-doubt, the desire for connection.
Speaking of power levels, where does he actually rank among Marvel's most powerful characters?
Well, according to various power rankings, he's consistently placed among the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. He's even been shown to be more powerful than the Living Tribunal in some instances.
Wait, really? More powerful than the Living Tribunal?
Yes, during Secret Wars, the Living Tribunal actually admitted they needed Molecule Man to fight the Beyonder because the Tribunal was powerless against them.
That's incredible for someone who started as just a disgruntled lab tech.
And that's really the core of what makes Molecule Man such an interesting character. He's not just powerful, he's a study in contrasts.
How so?
Well, he's simultaneously one of the most powerful beings in existence and one of the most insecure. He can reshape reality but often just wants to be left alone. He's a cosmic being who still struggles with very human problems.
It's almost like his powers are a metaphor for human potential, how we can be capable of incredible things but often hold ourselves back.
Exactly. And that's what makes him such a relatable character despite his godlike powers.
Do you think we'll ever see him in the MCU?
Well, according to recent reports, he won't be appearing in the upcoming Avengers Doomsday, but there's still a possibility for Avengers Secret Wars.
That would be interesting to see how they'd handle such an incredibly powerful character on screen.
Especially given how his powers work. Visualizing molecular manipulation on that scale would be quite a challenge.
And capturing that contrast between his cosmic power and human insecurity.
Right. It would need an actor who could really convey that vulnerability beneath the godlike power.
So what's the biggest lesson we can take from Molecule Man's story?
I think it's that power isn't everything. Here's someone who could reshape reality itself but still struggled with the same basic human needs we all have. Acceptance, connection, purpose.
And maybe that our own limitations are often self-imposed.
Exactly. Just like how Molecule Man's powers were initially limited by his belief that he could only affect inorganic matter, we often underestimate our own capabilities.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Co-Pilot Podcasts. From disgruntled lab tech to cosmic being, Molecule Man shows us that true power isn't just about what you can do, it's about overcoming your own self-doubt.
And maybe that's why his story resonates, because we all have a bit of Molecule Man in us, capable of more than we think, if only we could get out of our own way.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Remember, whether you're manipulating molecules or just trying to get through your day, the biggest limits are often the ones we put on ourselves.